Hey,
Hello.
everybody. Sorry, we
Craziness.
had to switch over to a different StreamYard. As you can see, we are missing someone tonight. Welcome back to another episode of Meaty Mondays with the Fierce FeLions. G is traveling, and it looks like she's having some issues. So, if she makes it in, we'll be super excited and happy that she's here. But if not, we wanted to make sure that we got in here. So, hopefully everybody that's over on the other live stream comes over and joins us over here on this one. Hey Laura, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I know this is crazy and hard to believe that we are this many weeks. We are definitely overdue if we were having a baby. We are really moving along. My name is Laura. I'm from Healthy Carnivore. I also have a website that is called russellbrands.com for any healthy natural items. All of my items are not carnivore. I had somebody reach out this weekend and was like, just left a message. Your facial serum isn't carnivore. And I'm like, nowhere on my site does it say everything is carnivore. I said, I do use plants as medicine. And I intend on continuing to do so.
Yes.
I just want to throw that out there. So, how have you been, Robyn?
I've been good. It's been a busy week and had an awesome weekend. So I'm back. I'm happy to be back with Meaty Mondays. And if you don't know me, my name is Robyn Heron, and I'm your carnivorous grandma. My channel is at Carnivorous Grandma, GRAMA. And we are so happy that you guys are here with us tonight. And like I said, G is traveling. If you guys don't know, it's G's 20th wedding anniversary. And they're probably on a cruise right now. They're going to
You
be
probably know why
renewing their.
she's running late.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Eh,
so they're celebrating and we're just happy for them. So if she makes it, we'll be very happy. But if not, we know how it can be with travel and those kinds of things. And particularly, I think on the cruises, it's a little bit difficult with the internet. So yeah, so we're happy to be back. And tonight we are going to be talking about lots of things. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can figure it out. Do you know, Laura?
yes.
Oh,
Tonight is advanced tips and strategies for the carnivore lifestyle. And it's where we're going to kind of go over things that we have used, things that we know, and things that the people we work with and come in contact with. A lot of it is going to be with you guys that we learn from you guys too. So we're going to put that information out there for you guys to have also.
yes. So I think we're going to start out with our first segment, which is news you can use from the community
Yes.
with Rhonda. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up and we will start with that tonight.
Perfect. Perfect.
So let me see. Um, this one. Yes. Okay.
Hi, I'm Rhonda at Carnivore Leo, bringing you news you can use from the community. Today's topic is about advanced tips and strategies for the carnivore diet. I recently saw a video from Bella at Steak and Butter Gal regarding tips and strategies that she uses for her carnivore lifestyle. One advanced tip she suggested is for steak lovers, which I wish I knew before I began my carnivore journey. Bella stated that you can save a lot of money if you go to Costco or Sam's Club and purchase their whole rib roast. This is basically the entire slab of ribeye where the butcher does not slice it up for you. You just take it home and slice it up yourself, vacuum seal it, and store it in your freezer. That's really the best way to save as much money as possible on steaks. Each pound of those ribeyes that you slice yourself is going to be less expensive than if you were to buy it pre-sliced for you. Another tip Bella mentioned was about ground beef. She stated that a lot of people complained to her about ground beef because it was always dry, not juicy enough, and that it didn't taste very good. Bella stated that it's because they were not cooking it in the best way possible. Many people make the mistake of overcooking ground beef and cooking it at too high of a temperature, which makes it dry and less flavorful. Bella stated that you need to cook your ground beef on low-medium heat. Let it cook low and slow so that it simmers in its own delicious, juicy golden fat. Cooking it low and slow does require a little more patience, but it is so worth it because it delivers that juiciness that makes ground beef so delicious. I hope you find these tips useful. Thank you for watching News You Can Use from the Carnivore community.
Awesome.
Wonderful. So I'm not sure about anybody out in the audience, but I just bought a whole ribeye from my butchers. And I hate to say their names because everybody keeps going over there, and I want my ribeye fat. So I'm not going to say their name anymore. Anyway, but they don't charge anything extra, and they actually cut it up for me. And then I had them take some of the fat off of it. I had them keep on half of it, but I had them cut off some of that. And then I bought that for $1 a pound of the ribeye fat. Yeah. Super cheap. Yeah. And I
Wow.
think the whole ribeye, I think it was nine something a pound is what their sale was. So yeah, I bought that, had them cut it
Wow.
up into 3/4 inch, which is a good size steak. So that is what
That
I
is
did with mine.
ridiculous.
Yeah, we do have a question.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. I do want to let you know that I am in contact with G. They are on the ship. Apparently, the ship lost power and she can't get her internet going. So if she's able to get it, she will come in and we'll be happy to
Yeah.
have her. So let me find this question
Yes.
real quick.
Hopefully they don't run into nothing.
Right. I
Scary.
know. I heard that there's going to be some storms, and we're actually going on their 20th anniversary cruise this weekend. So, yay.
Nope. Not I. Yeah.
All right.
So she's saying that she ordered black seed oil for her daughter as she is having lung issues with asthma. Is there any reason you do not use cold press one in gel caps, putting into capsules for her currently? I absolutely have that. And if I'm having any kind of breathing trouble, whether it be if my asthma is getting bad, if we are like bronchitis, any of that kind of stuff, I would absolutely do that because I do believe in using medicine or plants as medicine, and I would use that. So I do think that's safe. I think it's fine to do. I will tell you, she may burp that oil, and it is a little strong. So if
Mhm.
she has trouble doing that, put the capsules in the freezer and freeze them. You can do the same thing with fish oil. Put it in the freezer and freeze it. So when you swallow it, it's not buoyant and it'll go to the bottom of the stomach and actually go through instead of sitting up on top of the acids. So you
Wow.
don't burp it back
Interesting.
up if you have any of that trouble.
Wow. Why don't we know this? This is a really great tip.
Yeah. I've been telling my patients for a long time. It's funny. I had a repeat patient that I had like 7 years ago. I actually had her husband, but I had her at this point. And I was going over her medicine and she had these giant fish oil. And man, when you opened the container, they just, oh, it was horrible. And I was like, don't forget. I said, you can put these. She goes, I know I put them in the freezer. And I was like, well, look at you being all smart. She goes, well, you told my husband to do that. And I said, oh, yeah, that's right. You did, I did, okay. I said,
Mhm.
"Well, she was listening, so that's good." Let's see, is there
Okay.
any.
So Carnivore Mommy says, yes, that's the one I bought. There's
Yeah,
cold pressed and
yeah.
gel caps already. Is there a reason you get the liquid over the caps?
I do the liquid because I want to control being able to take a stronger dose if I want to, and I can stomach it the other way. I actually mix it with apple cider vinegar, if that makes any sense. There's something about that it cuts that flavor of it, rather than taking a bunch of capsules. So you can do it either way. But I would do this. I mean, and you can do the capsules. It's just, I don't know. I don't always, and I don't know. I'm not sure we can trust any of this stuff 100%. Sometimes they say what it is on the back, but I just try to do the best that you can, I guess. Yeah, that is true. I
So,
agree.
hey, everybody in the chat. I'm sorry I have not popped up everybody's hellos, but hello to everybody that's in the chat. We really do appreciate you being here. I do want to bring this up because Laura's products are absolutely amazing. I love them. But Karen Harrington is here and she's saying, I love your face serum, Laura. I need to get another one ordered. Now, I haven't tried that.
Yeah, it's so good, and it can be used anywhere. Um, Especially like if you have scars, it is so good on scars. It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So Christy is here. Hey, Christy, and she just
Hi.
ordered her second bottle of Lisa. Oh my God, of Laura's serum. I don't
Oh,
know where
whatever.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so I use the tooth powder. I love the cinnamon. It's so good. I'm almost out. I've been saving my jars because Laura had mentioned that, like you could recycle those, send them
Refill.
back, and she'll send you your stuff in the little. So instead of throwing those little things away, I'm just saving them up. And when I get ready to, I'll send a whole boatload of them back and get those filled up with my tooth powder. I love the
Perfect.
tooth powder. It's
Perfect.
really, really good. The tooth powder, is it remineralizing? Like,
Mhm.
okay.
Yep.
I thought
Yep,
so.
it is. It's also good if you have sensitivity. You should notice if you have sensitivity using that over time that you should get less
Mhm.
sensitive
Yeah.
issues. So,
I
yeah.
am noticing that because I have very, very sensitive teeth. And it is getting better. It's taking a while though. It's taking a long time to do it, but it actually is getting a little bit better. So I appreciate that. And then I
Yes, you are
appreciate
welcome.
that it doesn't have fluoride. So thank you so much.
That's exactly right. And it doesn't have aluminum because
No
the
aluminum,
baking
yeah.
soda is aluminum free. So
Yep.
we try to keep all of it out of there. And Carnivore Mommy has a question, or is it an FYI?
FYI, if you're doing your own labs, be sure there's a clinic near you. No refund once purchased. LabCorp is very slow. So if time critical, do not use them. Over a weekend, I still don't have my results. Okay. So this is like own your
Yeah.
own labs. I'm assuming that that's what you're talking about, Carnivore Mommy, is own your
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
labs. I might have
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because last week I wanted specific labs and I called my doctor's office and she was like, well, we'll discuss that at your appointment. I'm like, look, lady, I come one time a year. I'm not dicking around. I'm not wasting time to talk about labs so I can do some and then come back and see you again. But she is absolutely right. Yep. I called all the labs in my area. And even though they send to LabCorp, they have to have an order that has a doctor's name, which the LabCorp orders do, but they don't put the diagnosis codes on them.
Oh, okay.
And so they wouldn't accept it. So I almost had paid for mine. I had them up in the cart, but I wanted to kind of check around because I trust nobody. And when they told me that, I was like, okay, time to take that out of the cart. And then I did call um Own My Labs, and they did call me back a couple hours later, and he said, "Yes, we do it. Doctors, it says what labs you need." I said, "Do you guys put the diagnosis on there?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Well, any of the labs in my area," and I called 5 different labs, including the one in our place. And if the diagnosis codes are not there, they can't run them. So that's another thing to be mindful of and just see. So it's a
Okay.
bummer. Yeah.
All right. So
Hi,
I think
Dee.
what we're going to do is, Laura, let's tag team on G's segment, if you don't mind.
Sure. Sure.
Um, so we've got 4 topics that G was going to talk about tonight. So I think we can cover these between the two of us.
Yes. I think we
So do
can.
you want to start? I'll do the
Yes.
first one.
You can do either one. I don't
I'll
care.
do the second one. Okay, you do the first one.
Okay. So, first one is electrolyte balance, which is where you want to maintain your sodium, potassium, magnesium, and I mean, calcium is actually also an electrolyte that doesn't get talked about a lot. But you're naturally going to have that in your body, whether you're taking in milk products or not, just because the meat you eat does have the amount that you need to have it in there. So, the things that I think that I noticed when I transitioned to carnivore, because I'm an all or none, so I did it like overnight, was I had the dizzy spells. I was very weak. I had leg cramps like crazy, stood up from bed and literally passed out and was
Wow.
back up in about half a second. And my husband's like, "Did you pass out?" I'm like, "Nope, I tripped." Because I knew he'd be like, "That's it. You're not doing that crazy diet." And so I knew that I needed to get electrolytes in. So I actually went out in the kitchen and I drank some pickle juice from the dill pickles and put some salt under my tongue, and I felt amazing. So
Hmm.
the symptoms you can get is a lot of fatigue. You can get dizzy spells. You can get headaches. Headaches is a big one. And then muscle cramps is another one that you can get. So I would say if you have any of those, you want to try either just the mineral salt, Soleil water, which is where you take the mineral salt and put filtered water in with it, shake it up, set it on the counter overnight, and let it do its thing. And sometimes, like I take extra magnesium just because I think it helps with my sleep, and I'm too chicken to give it up to see if it doesn't help with my sleep because my sleep is so good. I don't want to do anything to mess it up. So, and like I said, I do salt everything I eat. And I think at some point, I do think maybe we don't have to salt stuff as much as we used to. At least that's what's happened to me this year. And I'm in my fifth year. I only salt my food. I don't do a whole lot of salt in my water anymore, which I was doing throughout the day, every single day. So that's my opinion on the electrolyte balance.
Awesome. I do take electrolytes every day. I use either Element or there's another one called Salty.
Yeah.
And I just ordered some Redmond's Relight. So once I get that, I will be giving a review on that to see how it is. My preference, honestly, is between the two, between Salty um, and Element is actually Element. I think that Salty is a little less salt tasting. And so if you don't like a highly salty taste, then you might like the Salty better. But I enjoy that salt flavor. So I do like it. And I actually like the texture of it better. And so sometimes the Salty does get like, it's like it gets moisture inside and turns into like a solid, which is weird. I've never had that happen with Element. So that was something that I didn't prefer about that. So my topic is organ meats. So, when talking about organ meats, we're talking about things like liver, kidney, brain, even tongue,
Heart,
and
spleen.
spleen. Yep. So they're really good. They're high in essential vitamins like A, D, K, E, B vitamins, particularly B12. And so they're really, really healthy for you to eat. However, I don't think you have to have them. From what I understand, you can get all the nutrients that you need from just eating regular red meat. You can get it from ground beef. You can get it from ribeye. You can get it from chuck steak, chuck roast. So it's not really necessary to eat it necessarily. And some people don't eat them at all. Now, I do enjoy them. I enjoy like beef liver, chicken livers, beef tongue, and I have tried kidney, wasn't my favorite. But what I find is that with the organ meats, I will have a craving. Like, okay, it's time for me to eat some liver. And I'll know that my body needs something that's coming from that liver. So I think that organ meats are delicious. And I think that people should try them. Just don't like dismiss it out of hand because they're really good. One thing I want to say about cooking like liver. Back in the day when we used to cook liver, we cooked that liver to literal death. I mean, if it wasn't already dead, we would have killed it again because it was so tough and it was so well done. It's unnecessary to cook it like that. You know, we used to flour it, we cooked it with the onions and made the gravy and put it over rice and all that stuff. I can do something very similar to that that's absolutely delicious without cooking my liver until it turns into a piece of shoe leather. So, you know, I make a gravy out of like cream cheese. If you want onion and if you tolerate onion, you can use a little onion powder. I do that sometimes. And so it's really, really, really good. And then I found like chopping it up into bite-sized pieces, into little bitty pieces. You can cook it super fast and it's really good. I find that liver has a sweet taste. What about you, Laura? Do you think it tastes sweet?
I think it tastes like the bottom of my shoe. But I do make myself do, and I'm kind of like you. I had bought some and then I had my deer um kidneys and liver and had ground it up into burger. And I kind of overdid it at first because I started losing like handfuls of hair. And I was like, oh, that's
No.
vitamin A toxicity. And then I was like,
Mm,
okay, they didn't eat organs every day because they only would eat a little bit of it when they got the kill and they weren't getting a humongous kill every single day. So I was
right.
like, back off, which that helped. But I will every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, I need to pull out one of those packs of burger that has that mixed into it. Like I just have that, like I need that. But
Mhm,
to sit there and eat liver, I choked down half a pound of beef calf liver probably
mhm.
9 months ago. And it was horrible. It was horrible. I was like, and I barely cooked it because I knew not to overdo it. I'd listened to Baker and Barry and some other ones talk about
Mhm.
you don't want to cook it very much. It was very bittery tasting to me, but my iron is so good now. I don't think I need it as much as I used to. I do think I have gotten that anemia completely turned around and I'm actually on the high end now, which I think maybe that's why the taste is a little bit different. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely could see it being an acquired taste. I grew up eating it. When I was a kid,
Yeah.
I hated it. I used to be so upset when we were having liver and onions. I liked the gravy and I liked the
Right.
onions and I liked the rice, but I did not like the liver because it has a strong taste.
Yeah.
But as I grew older, I found that I really did like the taste of liver. And to me, it really tastes sweet. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. So give it a try. The other thing that you can do is a lot of different people have a product out there that is an organ meat supplement.
Mhm.
So you can get those on Amazon. Dr. Kiltz has one, and he was giving those out at Hack Your Health, and so I picked up some. But I don't really take it because I don't really need it. When I get a craving for liver, I eat some, and then I can tell when I've had enough because it's like, yep, you're done eating
That's it.
liver. You are not eating any more liver because you're done. So,
Yeah.
the body will just tell you what it needs. Um,
Yeah.
Somebody's asking a question here. Let's go to this one really quick, and then
Yeah.
there's another question as well. How do you cook tongue? So, do you have a good recipe, Laura?
Laura has never eaten tongue. My grandmother used to peel, I think, the taste buds. Oh, she used to peel it off and then she'd parboil hers.
Mhm.
And then I don't know what she did. I don't remember what she did after it. But I found something to do outside of the house and didn't come back till late at night. So I never ever ate it. And I think she got the hint and never made it for me again. I do think it's good for you. I just can't get past that seeing those taste buds. It just, ugh, I'm a baby.
So I know that you can boil, like Laura's saying, you can boil the tongue, you peel that skin off the outside, and then you eat the inside of the tongue. When I was in Texas, I went to a Korean barbecue and they had beef tongue. It was very thinly sliced, and we just cooked it on like a little hibachi type of a grill. So that was really good. I think you can roast it. I think you could put it in the pressure cooker and cook it. But yeah, I don't know. I think that the skin part of it might be a little bit unpalatable. So I think you're going to want to peel that skin off. So what I would do, and I haven't done this yet, is I would take that tongue, I would put it in the pressure cooker, cook it until I can get that, peel the skin off. And then I would probably thinly slice it and maybe grill it or put it in the air fryer or something like that, or even roast it. So
I'm not against trying it. I may try it someday in the future, cooking it the way I want to, because I didn't always try. I mean, she was a very good cook and I learned a lot from her, but she snuck things in and then told you what it was after you ate it, like Rocky Mountain oysters. I think that's what they're called. And then when I saw how they made those, no, I'm not okay with that. So after that, I didn't trust her.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like slipping a little bit of liver into your ground beef, right? You put a little bit of liver in there, and then you get the kids, they eat their tacos and the sloppy joes and whatever it is that they're having, hamburger patties, and they don't even realize that they're having a little bit of organ meat as well.
Yeah.
So
And my grandson, he loves the beef and deer that I have mixed with the liver and the kidneys. Every time he comes by, they know there hasn't been candy in my house their whole lives and their parents' whole lives. So they never come in and ask for a candy dish. So he's always like, can I take home either some homemade salsa that I make that I can, or some of your liver beef, he calls it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's definitely delicious. I am going to try it. So we have another question here. I'm going to pop this up before we go to the next topic, which is from Karen Harrington. And she says, I wake with headaches nearly every morning. Could be a lack of sodium in the AM.
Yeah, it's possible that it could be. This is something you can test out really, really easily. So you could take, and right before you go to bed, put a real nice pinch underneath your tongue, and see if that next morning, if that helps you any. If that does not help, I don't know if you take magnesium, but you can take, 420, 450 milligrams of magnesium before bed. I like magnesium glycinate because it's kind of multi-use, and helps with sleep, and see if that helps. That would be the two culprits. If it's none of those, then my next nurse brain always thinks about possibly sleep apnea. If you're not breathing correctly at night, like if you're a mouth breather, you tend to hold in lots of CO2 and it can have cause a headache. Now, some people do mouth taping, that it forces them to breathe through their nose and to see if that. So I, as soon as I saw people mouth taping, though, that just freaks me out because I'm asthmatic. And all I could think of is, what if I have my mouth tape and my sinuses fill up in the middle of the night? Yeah. So I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know that I would do that, but I do know that they're like, I think Kelly Hogan does it. I've seen some stuff where she talked about it. So I would try the sodium first. Um, and you could make some Soleil water and do that. So
Okay.
I'm worried about, see, sleep apnea would be my number 3 guess. If you try sodium and you're doing magnesium, if the sodium does not help, then it's possible sleep apnea. If that's the case, I'm not sure of exactly how you eat, but you may want to try to do the lion diet for a month and see if that gets rid of the rest of that inflammation, because most of the time it's inflammation that's causing the sleep apnea most of the time. But that's what I would do. Try that first. Always start with the easiest. That's just like when I used to work on cars all the time. I'm starting with the spark plug. I don't want to change the whole distributor cap. I want to start something cheap and easy and then work my way up to whatever goes next. So, yep.
Right. Couple of comments about the food. Kimberly Meyer says, My mom loved fried liver with onions. Mine
Yep.
too. Mine still
My,
does.
yeah. Mine too.
Absolutely. And then Natalie says, my dad used to make awesome tongue and heart. Oh, I had heart for the first time. I was picking up organ meats from my local farmer for the dogs. It was too rich for them. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
I was, slicing up the heart. I ended up cooking. It's so delicious. It is very,
So are
very good.
kidneys.
Very mild, like
Kidneys. Yeah.
very mild.
Kidneys. Now, I don't know about beef kidney, but I will tell you the deer kidneys that I did, very mild as well. Very, but you felt good after you ate it. Like you could tell you got some nutrients from them. So that was pretty amazing. Yeah, that sounds good. And he
Yep,
parboiled his too.
yep.
Hmm,
Cooked it in barbecue
interesting.
sauce with the heart. That sounds good. And then
Yeah,
my mom would boil kidneys for my dad and make a kidney saute. Oh, the
yep.
smell was horrible.
I'll bet it was. It's a bloody organ, um, kind of like the liver is. And so, um, when I did mine, I peeled the kidneys and then I set them in a saltwater solution overnight and allowed all of that to kind of drain, rinsed them really well, and then ground them up, and they were delicious. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were very
Interesting.
good.
All right.
Yeah.
So the next topic is bone broth.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, I do I do like the idea of drinking bone broth. I always think it's cheaper to make your own than it is to buy it, but some people I think that fire and kettle is very good, but I think it's very expensive. I do
Mhm.
think it
It is.
has a lot of nutrients that are very important for you. A lot of times when the bones are done, I'll actually sit there and chew on the bones and get some of the bone marrow and eat that because I have always liked bone marrow, even as a kid. And then, of course, the collagen that you get from when you make it. What you get the collagen there. I'm not sure how much collagen is going to be in the one that's the fire and kettle or any of those ones. I don't feel like they don't gel, so I
Mhm.
don't know how
Like they
much is in
smooth
there,
out
and
the
maybe
top.
there is some. I don't know. Um, but it is good for joints, and it is good for most people when it comes to gut health. I will tell you the last time I made mine, which was 2 weeks ago, I still have 1 jar in there. I had a histamine response to
Mm.
it like I do egg whites, and I was so mad because it was such good. I had 2 jars of it, um, and then I was like, why are my sinuses just jacked up?" And, sure enough, I was like, "Okay, I won't do that tomorrow. I'll just do water and then my regular burger or steak or whatever," and I was fine. And I was like, okay, so that third one's just sitting in the fridge. I'll probably pour it in the garden or something. But I do think if you don't have histamine issues, I think it's a pretty good thing to do it. And I think, especially if you're starting to learn how to fast, and not that I think everybody should fast, but
Yeah.
if doing it, I think that is an excellent way to be able to manage through learning, getting your feet wet in fasting, especially if you high salt it and really lots of fat in it. I think it will save your life on a fast because I
Totally.
can remember doing it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I actually picked up some bone broth today. It was by Zoop. I didn't even look at the
Mm,
ingredients, guys. I was like, I need some bone broth, but it was so gross. It was just, I mean, it's
really.
nothing like a homemade bone broth that you've seasoned yourself and you cooked it as long as you want, and it's got all delicious fat on it, and you got all different kinds of bones in there. Nothing like that. So the soup that I made was like, nah. It was
Yeah.
okay. I had to add a whole bunch of salt to it because it wasn't that good.
Blah.
So, yeah, making your own bone broth is probably your best bet. So Natalie is saying here, let me see if I can pop this up. It's hard to find beef bone broth, especially without garbage ingredients. I'd like to make my own, but I have trouble finding the bones at affordable prices. Yeah, I don't know if you have a local rancher in your area. A lot of times they will have beef bones in their stock. At least the rancher that I work with keeps beef bones and they sell them for like $3 a pound, They used to be a lot cheaper, but everything has gone up these
Yes.
days.
Yes, it has.
But yeah, but you can get them a lot of times from the farms. Today, I found beef marrow bones by Swift at my grocery store. They just had a bag of beef marrow bones. I've never seen that before in my store. So I didn't pick it up, but I sure was tempted to pick it up.
Another thing you can do, and this is going to sound crazy, but this is something I have literally done. Okay. My family knows I'm crazy, so they weren't surprised. But like my mom loves T-bones. She loves to eat. There's a roast that she likes to do that has like the big round marrow bone in it. And I'm like, hey, I was like, instead of getting me anything for my birthday, why don't you, every time you guys eat one of those, throw it in a freezer bag, the bones in the freezer bag after you're done, and save them up for me. And I'm not kidding you. They gave me almost, I'd say, a white trash bag full of frozen bones. And then I just put them into like gallon Ziploc bags myself. And plus, I saved like my own, like when I did beef ribs or if I had T-bone or something like that, I saved my own, and then just used them. They were great. And that's a good birthday gift. It's a gift that keeps giving, except now I can't drink it.
Oh man, that sucks. So are we
It's
there
okay.
yet? It's here. Hi. Hi,
Yay.
friend.
Hi.
Homemade bone broth is where it's at. Absolutely. It's so much better. Like 1,000 times better than that store bought. Even the Kettle and Fire, which is okay. I mean, it just doesn't have that. It don't have that oomph like what I'll get from making my own. And then Natalie's saying that most of our grocery stores don't have on-site butchers anymore. That's true.
Oh.
The one that I was just at today, Meyer, does have an on-site butcher, but you can't buy anything from their trimmings. What they're trimming in the back, you can't buy any of it. I'm like, well, that's a waste.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then there is a local grocery store that does have a nice butcher shop. And I have gotten, I have gotten the bones from there. I was able to find picanha there. It was really ungodly expensive though.
Yes.
So can't afford to buy it from
Oh,
them.
that's too bad.
Here, when canning tallow, do you need to use new lids? Did you say in your video to turn it upside down and it will seal?
Yep, I sure did. So I do not use new lids. I actually save my lids. So like when I collect my tallow, each week on the counter, I put a lid and ring. And then when I get to like 2 quarts or 3 quarts, I will then render them down and do that. I save that lid. I've even used ones that have went through the canning process before. I think the trick is to make sure that when you turn the lid over, that there's no breaks in that little plasticky, waxy strip that is around the edge. And you put that in really hot water, just like you would with the jars and stuff like that. And I've never had any problem. And literally, I did it this weekend and I put it in the jars. I put it about this far from the top, about an inch, inch and a half, put it on. I had to use a tea towel because I burned the crap out of myself and put that on, make sure it's good and tight. And then I would take like something that you can handle the heat and turn the jar to make sure it doesn't come out because sometimes it takes a second to seal and you don't want to get that hot oil on you. But I did that for just 3-4 minutes, turned it back over, and they're all sealed on the counter. They're beautiful.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Learned a new trick. Another new trick. Laura's full of new tricks today. Are we there yet? I always roast my bones first, then simmer them for days until they turn to mush. Actually, yep, absolutely. Proud to be weird is here. Hey, I eat bone marrow all the time. I should have picked it up. I was so tempted because I have never seen that in the store ever. And I was like, oh man, I should try this. So Sharon loves to make her own bone broth. And then, oh, look at this. I look in the frozen food cases in weird places in the store. Have found bone marrow bones sold as dog bones for $1 to $2 a pound a few times now. Very interesting.
Yep. I think Hy-Vee. I don't know if you guys have any Hy-Vees where you're at, anybody that's on here, but I think we found some at Hy-Vee, and it was in the freezer aisle for dogs. It was listed for dogs, and my
Wow.
husband's like, "You're not gonna buy those." And I said, "Yes, I am. Hello, crazy. You married me."
Exactly. I would buy it. Oh, yes, and I would eat
And
it right up. So
and
Karen says,
and so did he.
I'm mostly carnivore. I do add some pork rinds, sugar-free ketchup,
Yeah,
and cheese. So I don't know.
yeah.
Called me a hyper. Someone called me a hyper carnivore today. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I mean, something that you could try, because pork rinds do inflame me. I love pork rinds. I love pork rinds.
Me too.
But they do inflame me, and just even the plain ones that are cooked in the pork grease. I don't do any sugar-free sauces. I'm not saying you can't, and I don't do cheese because dairy tends to be a lot of the trouble sometimes. So I'm just saying I would maybe try to go clean as you possibly can.
For a little while.
Um,
Try it.
yeah, give it a try and see. And it doesn't mean, and then you can introduce something back in and see, like, oh, do I start doing that again? Am I having that trouble? And then you'll kind of know. It's an N equals one experiment.
Exactly. And that's the great thing about the carnivore as an elimination diet is you can really dial in to what your issues are. Like think about this, all the things that Laura just mentioned that she has issues with when she was eating keto even. She didn't know everything that she had issues with. Same for me. I didn't know like I can't have heavy cream because it causes me to break out, it causes my hand eczema to flare up. So, these things you can figure out, you can really dial in on that when you do that elimination diet. So it's really, really awesome. We are going to move to the topic of intermittent fasting. So, and you guys may or may not know that I've been on these challenges for the last 2 months. So July I did a challenge, in August I'm doing a challenge, which includes like OMADs, it includes lean days. And so, there's various ways that you can do intermittent fasting. I think a really popular one is like 16-8, which is like fast for 16 hours and then eat all your meals within an 8-hour window. The OMAD is like fast and then eat all your food that you're going to eat within like an hour. You eat all that you're going to eat within an hour, and then you don't eat anything else for the rest of the day. Just one meal in a day. And so, there's like a 24 where you will fast for 20 hours and eat for 4 hours. There's something called the 5-2 where you eat 5 days of the week and then you fast for 2 days. So I know like Dr. Kiltz, I think he does like a 3-day fast, I think every month. Somebody who knows Dr. Kiltz, tell me if I'm correct. Is it every month? And so, just eat normally and on your regular eating days. And then when I say normally, I mean, eat your carnivore diet, eat your proper human diet. Don't eat your sad diet, but eat your proper human diet on those days. And then on the couple days that you're fasting, then you just don't eat and just drink water. Probably have some electrolytes to make sure that you keep your electrolyte balance. And then as Laura mentioned, bone broth can be a lifesaver when you're fasting. And like Dr. Jason Fung, who is the fasting guru, when I first started fasting, I watched everything by him. I read a couple of his books, and he said that, as a crutch, when you're getting your fasting muscle, starting to exercise it, that bone broth can be really, really helpful. So that's a great way to do. There's something called the alternate day fast, which is like you fast every other day. So you eat one day and you don't eat the next day. I don't know why, but for some reason in my mind, I'm considering doing that. I don't want to. But my brain is telling me you need to try an alternate day fast, maybe in September. We'll see what happens. Yeah, yeah, that's basically, there's so many options for fasting. You can do extended fasts if you want to do, multiple day fasts. At the beginning of the year, I did a 7-day fast. And so 7-day water fast. And so that was, that's really good. But fasting can be really good, but it can also put a lot of stress on the body. So some people say, like, I've heard people say, like, women should not fast because it increases your cortisol levels. It makes you stressed out. It stresses the body. So you just got to figure out what works for you. I don't really like fasting, but I like what it does for my body. So it's challenging though. So work your way into it. I know the Steak and Butter Gang talks a lot about priming and, really feeding your body well before going into a fast. So, do your research and determine what kind of fasting you want to do.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go into fat intake. And I do think this is just like she was saying with fasting. I do think this is different for everybody, but I will make a generalized statement that I do 100% believe that women need more of the fat than men do. Um, and I can only base it off of like the things that I have done. I just have felt that my energy level, my sleeping improved, my hormones better, things like that when I increased my fat intake. And I literally every single day of my life, I do have anywhere between a fourth and a half a pound of crispy ribeye fat as my side to whatever meat I am eating. I had a ribeye last night, 3/4 of one, because I had like a fourth of a pound of ribeye fat with it. So I was full. And so the rest of it I kept. And I actually froze it because I haven't had any egg yolks in quite a while. And the other day, I actually had a dream about egg yolks. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to make me like, some scrambled egg yolks and throw some steak in. So I'll be planning that. So I just think you should try to increase the fat. And you can always tell based on your stools how you're doing. Now, in the beginning, when you first transition, there is a learning curve with the fat. So you definitely want to be careful and not overdo it until you are what they call fat adapted, which can take several weeks for some people to get to. If you don't have a gallbladder, you may have to take some supplements like ox bile salts for about a month or so until your body transitions, and then usually you're fine. Another thing is you want to, for most people, variety is the spice of their life. I am not that person, but I never was. I was never somebody that wanted a variety of any of that kind of stuff. I was always, once I found something I liked, that's pretty much what I ate as much as possible. But if you're able to tolerate a lot of these different foods, like, yeah, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, seafood, any of your game animals like deer, elk, bison, bear, moose, if you have moose, those are things that you can do, especially in the beginning when you're getting on this. You want to have some kind of variety, and then if you have to go even stricter to see about better health, getting rid of inflammation, things like that, you can always do ruminant animals and salt, water, and fat. Um, Another thing that we talk about is that I always think it's a good idea to get blood work done prior to, yes, I said bear. Some people eat bear. I would eat bear, like absolutely. But I would eat, no, I'm not going to say. Anyway, we'll save that for a different, yeah. And it wasn't anything dirty. It's just, I'm not going to say it because people will be like, oh my God, she's horrible. And my neighbors would be freaking out if they heard it. So, and it's not human beings, just so you know. But I just think you have to kind of check your blood work before you start this so you know where you are. I have somebody I was working with this week as a client who was 4 weeks into carnivore before they did any lab work. And of course, the doctor's like, oh, look at your cholesterol. It's just off the chart. And look at this and look at that. Triglycerides fell from 300 last year to under 100. And I'm like, okay, well, it's too soon to tell what is happening. You've eaten the standard American diet for 54 years and you've been 4 weeks on carnivore. It is not causing the issue. We've got to get healing underway. So I do like to do the blood work about every 6 months after you've been on this. And then I just do it really yearly now. But like I said, I'm into my 5th year. But if you're somebody that can't afford to go do those tests, just pay attention to how do you feel. You're going to know by if you have more energy, are you sleeping better, is your skin improving, are your joints getting better, are you getting rid of, like if you have psoriasis or eczema or any of that, are any of these things going away, getting better, less, pronounced? So that is something that I would do. But I really would not, if you didn't get labs when you first started, I would wait till you are 6 months in before you even worried about it, because you've already kind of missed that starting point to be able to compare to. Also taking pictures and taking measurements, because sometimes the scale does not move. Just like G always talks about going to the gym 7 days a week. And she's like, I didn't drop a pound. I'm like, but your bones were getting stronger and you was building muscle and there was other things going on. But I know we especially as women, we want to see that scale go down. But we are more important than a number, I promise you. Another thing is dairy products. Some people that do carnivore are able to do the high fat dairy products, like butter, cheese, heavy cream. But I would watch very closely how your body responds when you eat those things. Like Robyn said, she gets back her hand eczema when she does, is it the heavy whipping cream? Yeah. And so with me, it's all histamine responses. I just fill up, like my nasal passages are just full. And I get kind of foggy. And the other day I had like when I did the pork rind. So when we went grocery shopping, I didn't even go down the aisle that had the pork rinds, so I didn't even have to look at them because I was like, I'm not buying any more of those things. They are the devil. And of course, I don't moderate. So when you buy a bag, I ate the entire bag. So okay, I won't do that anymore. So you just have to kind of learn and see how your body reacts. With that being said, if you are able to get raw milk in your area, I would try small amounts of that and see if you can tolerate that. I've had people tell me that they've had, this allergy to milk, they're lactose intolerant, and they got their hands on raw milk. And in my mother's state, it's legal. So it's not a big deal. You don't have to act like you're, buying drugs. Illinois, you can't do anything without asking Sir Pritzker first, if you're able to do it. I can't even pick, what is it on my property? Is it ginseng? Wild ginseng. We're not allowed to pick that on our own property that we pay our taxes for because we need to get a license. Yes. So if you're looking for a state to move in, this is not the one. Just saying.
Okay. Oh my gosh. There's a few comments out here. We can bring those up really quick.
Okay.
So Karen was saying that she suffered with bursitis in her hips, had so many shots in them, I lost count. It took about 2 months on strict carnivore for that to finally go away. And then she's also, I'm sorry, that's Renee. Sorry, I said Karen. I meant Renee. Sorry, Renee. I actually blame the steroid shots on having to have one hip replaced. I didn't find out till the last shot that it can destroy the joints.
Absolutely.
That's annoying.
Yeah, that's why I feel so bad for the football players, because especially like the NFL and college, they get an injury, they take them in the locker room, they're giving them a big old shot of steroids. And it's like, what is that going to do to these guys, in 5 years from now, 10 years? And you wonder, you see these people, nobody plays as long as they used to, like Tony Dorsett. I mean, he was there forever. A lot of these guys used to be in there 20 years pretty easy, even being like linebackers and fullbacks and things like that. The quarterback doesn't usually get killed as much as some of the other ones. they don't have that longevity anymore. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're destroying their joints with this stuff. So yeah, it's too bad.
So this is my question. I had the same response, Deb. OMG, the shots destroy the joints because I had my first steroid shot this spring in my knee. I have bone on bone on my right knee, and Carnivore. I mean, I guess it's made it a little bit less painful to go up and down stairs, but it still, it still bothers me quite a bit. So I had an injection, but I did not realize that those shots destroy the joints. That is awful.
Well, the reason that it does, so there is some science behind it. So I don't think if you had a one and done, you got to worry about that. I think it's the repetitive use of those things, but that knocks down your immune system. So when you've got bone on bone or pain, anything, injury at a site, you send out endorphins and white blood cells to kind of start the healing process. Well, when you take a steroid, you block that symptom, you block that information getting sent out. So you never send anything to that area. So there's no healing that's going to take place. You will decrease your pain if they get it in the right spot because they're taking down that inflammation, but they're doing it fake. It's not, you're not getting the immune system to that site. And if you have bone on bone and you have injury to the matrix of that end of that bone, you want healing to happen, even if it's painful, because if you don't, then you can end up with osteomyelitis, which is like infection in the bone. There's just other things that can happen, and it depletes the way the bone matrix works. So the way all those come together and make a strong bone, it decreases that effectiveness of the way the matrix comes together. So long-term use is not good.
Yeah, I ended up asking for it because I was having so much pain, but basically I don't want to have another one and I don't want to have the replacement. So Deb's already had one hip replaced and trying to keep the other one. This actually makes me very, very angry too, Deb, because that's ridiculous. I mean, they should say taking this shot will destroy the joint even further. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, well, we don't recommend that you take this too often, or, once you take it once, you have to wait another year for the next one. They don't say this is going to make it worse. And
they also don't usually tell you once you've taken this shot, you really are not a candidate for surgery for 3 months because of the infection risk. Sometimes they tell you, but I've had patients who had a surgery scheduled, went and saw their doc, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just give you this shot in your sciatica and this will help everything." And then we had to cancel their surgery. That was 3 weeks later, and I'm like, "Did you tell him you had surgery coming up?" "Yes." Didn't matter. He still did it. And they had to cancel their surgery. Yeah, it's not right.
Karen took a shot last Thursday. It lasted 1 day. I took a shot. It lasted about a week. So I totally get that. I just want to pop this up because I was curious about what it means to be a hypercarnivore. As weird as it sounds, it's about being 85% carnivore. That's hypercarnivore. I wonder what
am I?
Yeah.
What are you?
Lion. Yeah. 99%, 98% carnivore. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
That would be hard for me. I don't drink a lot of water. I think that drink water if you're thirsty. That's my
yes. And I mean, there is dry fast. So I don't recommend extended dry fasting, but I will tell you that as long as you're doing salt under your tongue, I probably wouldn't do I'd probably do a 24-hour dry fast the first time. And then build yourself up to maybe a 2-day. I'm not a big fan of real long extended fasting often for women. I do think we can do some, but I do think that most of the time we really do see that spike in the cortisol, which is not going to be our friend. So that's what I would do. But I would try the dry fasting. If you're not a fan of water, make sure you get the salt under the tongue. because we are going to break down fat cells to get water. Our body's smart enough to do that. It's not just going to crumple up. We're not going to walk around looking like a California raisin from the 80s, you
Mhm.
know. um, it will do its job, but I don't think I would do extended periods of that. And I would be careful with any kind of fasting if you take medication for blood pressure, because it will lower your blood pressure significantly. So
Oh,
I would
okay.
be mindful of that. I would either work with a physician or a functional doctor, somebody that has some education and knowledge on that. Personally, if it was me myself and I was taking blood pressure medicine and I was fasting, I probably would hold some of my medications like that. If I was probably like 110/60, I probably would take nothing um, until the following day, is what I would do.
All right. So I got a few quick topics that we're going to cover. So I just want to talk about some practical tips that we can do as part of our strategy for the carnivore diet. And the first one has to do with meal preparation. So, of course, we've all heard of meal prep, like, preparing some food and having it in the refrigerator. Things like purse bacon, which I like to carry with me everywhere I go. And then, a lot of times on the weekends, it's convenient time to prepare a large amount of something. So whether it's burger patties, what I like to do is prepare them and then cook them to like rare. So they're not even close to being all the way done. And then you can basically cook it in a very fast amount of time, and it'll be to the perfect temperature that you like. Because I don't like my burger patties beyond medium and my steaks beyond like medium rare. So if I'm gonna meal prep that and have it in the fridge, then I want it to be to the point where I can still heat it up and it's not gonna overcook it. Boiled eggs is another really good one to do if you can tolerate eggs. A lot of people can't tolerate egg whites. Um, and so that's a good thing to have. I like egg salad, you guys, and like tuna salad. Those are really good. You can make your own mayo, or I mean, I think some carnivores do still use like the avocado mayo, the Primal Kitchen avocado mayo. I tried that last week and I feel like I had a little bit of a reaction to it. After I ate it, I had gas. I'm like, "Oh, this is odd." So, so I'm not sure if I wanna eat that, but make your own, butter mayo or bacon mayo or tallow mayo, and you can make your, egg salads and your, tuna salads and things like that. Another thing that's really good is deviled eggs. I made those a couple of weeks ago, and we had them in the refrigerator just for whenever we wanted to pull some out. And I did make those with butter. Instead of using like a mayo, I just melted butter and put that in my deviled eggs, and then I added like bacon bits to it. It was really good. But what I will say about that recipe was that it was salty because I used the salted butter, and then I also added bacon. So, just be a little careful about how much salt you add to it if you're going to make your eggs with melted butter. So, just cooking up those large batches of meat, if you want to cook like ground beef, and have it different ways. I know I used to do this a lot when my kids were younger. I would cook up a whole bunch of ground beef on the weekend and make spaghetti and tacos, whatever, all the different things with ground beef. So, just to make it more convenient for yourself during the week. So that's about meal preparation. Then around hydration, we just talked about this a little bit. I say drink when you're thirsty. It used to be like drink 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. And I'm not sure the science on that. Like,
The
is it
science was everybody was eating so much sugar that their cells were so bombarded that their cells were not being opened up to get the fluid into the cell where it needs to go. It was just in the bloodstream to the kidneys, to the bladder, and out the door. And when you're carnivore and you're doing enough salts, I think you get hydrated much easier.
Yep. Yep. So, drink, it says drink plenty of water on here, but I say drink enough water to be satisfied. So I have this big cup. I have a couple of these. It's 40 ounces. I usually drink a couple of these a day because I'm thirsty. But if you're not thirsty, then you don't have to drink.
Yeah.
But it says some people find they need to increase their water intake on a carnivore diet. I don't think that I've found that I needed to increase my water intake on carnivore.
Nope.
I think I'm thirsty, so I drink water.
Yeah.
But the one thing too is that I used to drink a lot of various sweet drinks, like sugar-free sweetened drinks. So I was a big Diet Coke fan. I mean, I drank a lot of Diet Coke, and then I had all of the sweet teas and the sweet lemonades and all the different things that were just sugar-free, but sweetened. So when I switched from that, I started to drink a lot more water than I used to. So when I was drinking all that other stuff, I wasn't thirsty for water. But now that I don't drink any of that stuff, I drink a lot more water. And the other thing I do is I use sparkling water. So it gives you that fizzy feeling, and it's nice. I do enjoy the sparkling water. So another point is that you can track your progress, and I use an app called MyFitnessPal, and I don't track every day, but if I want to know what's going on with my way of eating, if I want to see what's happening with my food and with my diet, where are my macros and those kinds of things, then I will track. And I use MyFitnessPal. There's another one called Chronometer. There's several of them out there that you can use to track, or you can even keep a written food journal. I know a lot of people that do that just write down everything that they eat and keep track of it. And so, you can track the intake. You can track, if you're having any issues. So let's say you're trying to figure out, I think we were talking about Karen, or one of the folks in the chat was saying, trying to figure out why I'm having this issue. Well, when you keep a food journal and then you write down your symptoms and how you're responding to the food, you'll be able to tell, what the thing is that's causing the problem. So that'll help you identify any kind of patterns and making adjustments to your food. And definitely, we talked about the power of the elimination diet, right? It's so powerful, because when you have all these signals coming in, it's really hard to isolate what it is that's causing you the problem. Even for me, when I finally I've thought kind of like I might have an issue with heavy cream, but once I took it out, all the way out for a long period of time, and then tried to add it back in, I added it back in for a week, and my hands went on blast, and that was the only thing that I had changed. So I'm like, that's definitely a problem for me. So being able to tell that was really, really significant. And then, of course, support. So here we are, Meaty Mondays with the Fierce FeLions. We have just an amazing support group here, and we appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here for our support group. So joining online communities or local groups for support, there's lots of Facebook groups out there. There's each one of us have a membership community, and we're also recently started another membership group that's with the Fierce FeLions. So
it's not 100% ready. It's
close. It's closed. But
yeah.
If you guys are interested in having that 24/7 access to the Fierce FeLions, then you can join that membership group on any one of our channels. So we're working on that, and that's coming very, very soon. As a matter of fact, I think we've got it up so that you can, put your, you can join and become part of that group. So connecting with others makes a difference. I mean, the community piece of it is so significant, because many, many times we are the only person in our world, in our immediate world, that is doing this way of eating. And, it can be challenging. The temptations can be challenging. I don't know if any of you guys deal with that. This week I had a craving that was like mind blowing. I have not had a craving like that since I've been on carnivore. I sat at my desk and saw, smelled, and tasted Chinese food. Now, you know, a carnivore can't eat no Chinese food. There's nothing at a Chinese food restaurant that we can have. I can't even
Yeah.
go in a Chinese food restaurant. But, you know, I just had a craving for it all of a sudden, you know, so being able to talk to somebody in the community and say, hey, you guys, I'm doing these daily videos. So I was talking about it on my video, like, you know, and people were talking about their experiences and, you know, being able to kind of commiserate together on that, the topic of cravings. So those are my practical tips for, for your carnivore diet. All right, Laura, back to you.
All right. So I want to thank everybody for being on here tonight, for being interactive. I really loved the questions and your comments. I love to see when you guys comment back and forth to each other. I will say one thing to Karen. I did see, I think that you were scared that you thought maybe coffee was causing your issue. So I will recommend something to you that I think it's easier for people who drink coffee is to step down, like water it down a little bit each day, and kind of go off that way. And then maybe make it like a Sunday morning, you're going to sit out on your porch and have like half a cup of coffee with half a cup water one time a week or something. And maybe you need to take it completely out for a while and just see. But I would step down. I would not quit cold turkey on anything like that. I think it could be really rough. But we are going to have our live next Monday, of course. And I think we're looking at doing a giveaway. I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, we'll kind of
Yep.
see, but I think that's where we're going to go with that. So we definitely hope to see you guys back. Robyn, what do you have going on your channel?
So, I'm going on a cruise, you guys. A couple of things I want to say that I recently had, and one was on my Saturday live stream. I interviewed Chris Cooking Nashville and his wife Ash, and that was such a fun interview. You guys, if you have not checked that out, you'll want to go to my channel and check it out. It was so much fun, and at the end, they did a mini concert. So it was really cool. It was really cool. I really enjoyed meeting them. And Chris is such a blessing to the carnivore community, you know, with all of the recipes that he's creating and making our lives more interesting. So I did enjoy that. The other thing is that I did a live stream with Carrie Mann and the Healing Humanity team on Sunday. Yeah, on Saturday night. So that live stream is also out there for you guys to take a look at. And it's just talking to the Healing Humanity team, the Healing Humanity, the Power of a Proper Human Diet, the team that is working with Carrie to bring that documentary to fruition. So I am on that team. I've been working, I've been doing interviews and checking people out who want to be part of that, part of the documentary or part of the docuseries. So that's another one that you guys can go check out. So this coming weekend, I will be traveling. I'm going on G and Frederick's 20th anniversary cruise to the Bahamas, and my husband and I, and so I'm super excited. I will not be able to post videos while I'm on the cruise because the internet is not stable, as you guys can see. G's on a cruise right now. She was not able to get on. So I won't be posting any videos between Friday and Monday, I believe. And so I've been doing daily videos. Every single day I've been doing a video talking about the challenges that I've been doing. So the August challenge that's going on right now, where I'm really trying to focus on losing some weight. So for a couple of days, I won't be I won't be doing those videos, but I'll have a stack of videos to post when I get back because I'm taking you guys along with me on the cruise, and you guys are going to get to see everything that we're doing on the cruise.
Awesome. That'll be good. Yeah. So I am in talks with a gentleman. Brett Smith is his name, and he was on Dave Max here not just maybe a week ago. And I think we may do a little collab. We're just kind of talking back and forth. We'll kind of see what we do if our times kind of meet up. And then I have 3 clients this week that I'm also going to be working with. And then I am making so much soap and body soap and shampoo bars because I'm trying to keep up because it takes so long for them to cure. I'm like, okay, I got another flat spot here for another cookie sheet of this and this and this. So
Nice.
I'm trying to keep ahead of those because they do take so long to cure. So and then I have elderberry and dandelion tincture that are both going to be mature this Friday. So I will be bottling those up and I'm going to be making some more facial serum because that stuff is so hard to keep in, and the bug spray. The bug spray. Did you make the bug spray?
I didn't make it yet. Nope.
Oh,
I
okay.
need to make
Okay.
it there.
Yeah, it is super easy, but boy, does it work. We were out Friday and Saturday at the farm where we deer hunt with family. And the grass was a little bit taller than like your yard would be. He didn't get nothing, I didn't get anything.
Wow,
Yeah. And
I definitely need to make it.
yeah, he usually gets chewed up. They like him better than they like me. I think it's because he still eats some junk food, so he's got some sugar in his blood.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so that
Yeah.
is what my week's going to consist of. Plus, the other home health agency in our area closed down.
Oh,
And yes. So I like to spend an hour with each of my patients every visit, which I'm still going to do. I've given up lunch, which I don't eat lunch anyway, so that's fine. But I've kind of just like, well, I didn't get lunch today because I was seeing that. So I am seeing more people too, but that's okay. Um, we got a lot of sick people out here that,
mm,
and it seems like every day I hate to keep dogging on the medical community, but I'm part of the medical community, so I feel like I can say it. um, the number of people that get sent home and dismissed and is the numbers are so far, it's so high of numbers that that's happening too.
yeah,
um, it's a shame, and I feel my patients are pretty lucky, not because they have me, but because somebody's coming in the home and being like, hey, let's check your medicine.
yeah,
I just, some of these patients that go home and they don't have that. They didn't call in their scripts. They didn't send home dressing change. I mean, just normal stuff that you would think, is that how you run your freaking house? I mean, I literally said that to somebody today. I'm like, is that how you run your house? If this was your mom, would you have sent your mom home in the same situation? And she was like, well, I wouldn't have my mom in that situation. I said, well, this lady didn't do this to herself. Like, that's no
mhm,
excuse. Like, that's not an answer. Um,
right.
so, yeah. So I try to stay off the phone with those places. I usually let the boss do it because I do take pride in taking care of patients the way they're supposed to be. And I'm going to fight it as hard as I can every single day against the shoddy system that we have.
Thank you, Laura. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, I think that is it. We hope that you guys
Yes.
will like, share, and subscribe to our channels
Yes.
and come back and see us again next week for Meaty Mondays with the Fierce FeLions. We'll see y'all next time.
Yeah. See you
Bye.
later. Bye bye.